Hi, my name is Dominik and I'm a carer for my wife who has an eating disorder. And this is my story. She went from a very severe situation where she would pass out in the shower, where she was medically ill. We would go into the emergency room. We would spend nights in hospitals, to now not having any problems for 7 months. Wow. in a row, and then having a little bit of a that's perfect recovery. That's if you space it further out and further out and further out, it will become 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. She had to stop her work, so I would be the only breadwinner for a very long time. That's the first. The second is total isolation, because you're completely hands-on with this recovery, that you neither have the time to meet with friends, nor have the energy, to be honest, to share with other people what's going on. It was also a struggle because all these feelings that are being managed by the eating disorder come out when you take the eating disorder away, which meant that suddenly there was jealousy where no jealousy existed before. There were all these other petty feelings that we have underneath, but we manage if you're healthy, and you can't if you don't know how, or take the mechanism away to challenge. Isolation, there were lots of compromises we had to make in order to move somewhere that was more strategically for the recovery rather than for our well-being. I wasn't able to take jobs on that were more remote, because they would have been better for my career, but it would have hurt the recovery. So everything is basically on hold for a long time, until you get to a point where you know the trajectory is the right direction, and then slowly go back. I'm pretty sure, because of the nature of the disorder, it's all secrecy, and they're really good at keeping secrets. They're even from their closest partners. So I would never blame anyone from not knowing that there's an eating disorder, even though it's your wife or your husband. But as soon as you know, I think it's really helpful to connect with other people that are in the same situation. Going to care support groups makes a big difference. For me, I literally feel better on the way home and for the next 2 weeks, just because I've spoken about it, just because I've shared, just because I've learned a new trick that I might try. My wife was very much aware that she was sick, and she was very much eager to change, but there wasn't enough incentive because it worked. The lifestyle that she had created was the only lifestyle she knew. She had coping mechanisms for uncomfortable feelings, and they were unhealthy, but it didn't have any impact on her that she realized. So I needed to make sure that we tip this balance into, hey, it's not really worth it, or at least the negatives outweigh the positives. She had reached out to psychologists. She met with some. They were strategically chosen to be people that she can manipulate, because it's all about control, and it's all about her making sure that nothing touches her lifestyle, because it is the only thing that she knows. And it was a very long journey until we found someone that she allowed to have an impact other than me. So finding the professional help, or the professional network, the support network, was a very long journey of maybe 3 years. At some point we found someone that really made an impact, and she allowed to be helped by that person. And that was a really good start, and we did this for a year, and that made big strides into very uncomfortable territory. And after that, we found a new person that was actually even more challenging and got to the bits of it that were the causes. So it's very much treating the symptom first, all the way until you have the capacity to go into what the reason is behind all of it. I think if you find out that your partner has an eating disorder, try not to fix it and learn first. Try not to go in there and suggest things. Learn about eating disorder, learn about that specific flavor of eating disorder your partner has. Reach out to people, find people that have similar things, and then slowly nudge. There's a lot of situations where people just came and they meant well, but they would just say, oh, just do this, it'll be easy, and do that, it'll be easy. That's not the point. It's not easy. It's not about easy or hard. It's just about progressively going into the right direction. There's no plug or button that you can push and it'll go away. It's very much about progressively learning behaviors that will replace the eating disorder and be comfortable with them. I still have to draw the line sometimes and say, I can't help you right now because I need to be your partner now. And I understand that that probably means that you're going to have a bad day. And I have to come to terms as a carer that I can't always help. You have to learn that you can't help, even though it seems really obvious what needs to be done. That's a very hard lesson for maybe specifically men. Hope is a very important thing. Me as well as my wife would talk very much about how great it would be to talk to someone that is completely recovered, because you doubt yourself. You doubt at some point saying, is it even possible to get out? Will it always be with me? What does it look like? It's really important to have this light at the end of the tunnel to understand, yes, you can get better. It can be completely gone. What that looks like, it's really good to have people telling that story about, I was there, I was really deep in, and now I don't think about it anymore. Something that is impossible to imagine when you're in it. I reached out maybe a year after I tried to fix it myself for Annabelle, support for myself. So I reached out to the Carers support group, which was very, very helpful because first, it's a really good feeling to hear that other people struggle with very similar things. So you feel a little bit less alone. You can bounce off ideas about problems or solutions to problems. But for me specifically, it helped because I got to not focus on myself for a little bit and able to help other people because we were a little bit ahead of the journey maybe. And that really helped me not to focus on my thing, help other people, and that is also nice sometimes. It sort of lifts a weight off for a little bit. I think I should have probably reached out more than I did. But when I just didn't know where to go anymore and what to do, that's when I would reach out and call and just get someone to calm me down or to emphasize with me. It's probably just a conversation that is needed sometimes to make you feel better. From a purely medical function, if you're starving, your body will release as much energy as possible because the body needs to go and gather food. And if you're in this state for a long period of time, you're just basically in a state of panic. And there's no time to think about other people. There's no time to think about the small fun bits. It's all about, everything is about food because it's literally the thing that will kill you if you don't get it. And everything is on high alert. And understanding this and changing your approach to, so that for instance meant for me that I wouldn't argue with my wife when she was in this state, when she was having an eating disorder, an episode, she would go out and do a thing. And naturally, this is when you want to argue and say, stop, you can't. Because it's literally your body being in panic mode. It switched everything off because now it needs to eat. And then there's other times when everything is okay. And we are happy. And that's when you avoid talking about it because you finally have a space where you're happy. And that's exactly the times when you need to talk. It's counterintuitive to what you would do, but that's what I found is the best. The situations when it's bad, you step away and you just have to wait it out. And then you find these moments of clarity to reach that person and have a conversation, a gentle conversation about things and say, hey, do you remember what happened last week about this thing? I really think we should think about maybe going like something. Because that's when you can reach that person. That made a big difference. I think it's all about patience and nudging. It's about maybe one thing that I've realized later that makes it all worth it is whenever you have arguments and fights and you feel like the other person can't hear you and they're screaming at you and they're doing something else, 2 months later they will say what you said on that day even though you thought they didn't hear you. And you realize every single thing that you do at some points reaches them, even if it's a small thing. So every single small thing is a nudge in the right direction. That was very helpful afterwards because there's a lot of times where you're like, I don't know how to do this. Nothing is working. What can I do? Our relationship has completely changed. I can actually find her now rather than the eating disorder that I was married to for a while. And that's beautiful to find that real person underneath that has so much imagination and so much love for other people, so much empathy that wasn't there before. But it is relearning a lot of things from the beginning and understanding that there's a lot of things that need to be foundationally put on again. And it takes time. It just takes time, and it's okay. But it can completely go away.